presents the National Football League. Today from Denver Mile High Stadium, it's the San Diego Chargers versus the Denver Broncos. Brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by IBM.
Good afternoon, everybody. Charlie Jones, Jimmy Cefalo, Mile High Stadium, blizzard conditions, San Diego and Denver. The airport here has been closed. Stapleton is closed this afternoon. The report we have will be closed until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. So we're just going to enjoy it. The fans, not that bad a turnout, although they are still sitting in their designated seats, which we found to be very funny in the toss of the coin. Denver won the toss and decided to kick off.
Which is not much of a surprise, Charlie. In these conditions, sometimes you want to establish a defense if you can. We mentioned earlier on in our pregame show that sometimes an offense can have an advantage, but I think it's a good move. Make the Chargers handle the football early on in the contest. A smart maneuver on the part of Dan Reeves and the Broncos.
And you saw from those other two games, again, those scores have not changed. Houston is winning, which means that if they continue to win that ball game with Cincinnati, that San Diego's slim playoff hopes have gone away. And Seattle is losing, which means that Denver would have the championship, playing for the important home field advantage. The starting quarterback for San Diego is Mark Herman. Dan Fouts is out with that torn rotator cuff. And Dan, as a matter of fact, in quite a bit of pain, did not make the trip here. He's smarter than we realize, is what he is. And John Elway. And this could neutralize the arm of Elway.
It could, Charlie. Not so much the footing conditions. The receivers know what they're going to break. Defensive backs have to react to the receivers. But because of the great wind factor here this afternoon, 25 miles per hour, that'll affect the footballs being thrown around by John Elway. And that'll also affect some of the weather conditions. For example, Rich Krause is going to have to kick off. And, of course, he's with a bare foot.
This kickoff, by the way, barefoot and all, is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beer. Curtis Adams, Timmy Ware, and Jamie Holland are the deep backs on the return. And in blizzard conditions, we are underway. It will go through the end zone for the touchback as Jamie Holland lets it go through. And so Mark Herman, his second start of the year, his first one you will recall was at Seattle, will lead the offense of San Diego with Tim Spencer, Gary Anderson, Lionel James, Wes Chandler, Kellen Winslow, and an offensive line of Lachey, Fitzpatrick, Masick, McKnight, and Kowalski.
And of course, Charlie, that offensive line may change. They may go with some of the larger players they have on the bench because of the bad weather conditions.
And they'll open with a double tight end. That's Pete Holohan. And he goes in motion. They're coming out throwing. Holohan diving forward. It is incomplete. It'll be second down and 10. Mike Harden had the coverage. Mecklenburg was trying to put pressure on Townsend, Cragen, and Jones, the defensive front three. Fletcher, Mecklenburg, Hundley, and Ryan. Haynes, Wilson, Lilly, and Harden in the secondary. Ball game just underway. Second down and 10. Barry Redden in motion. And the give is to Spencer, and he will lose about 3 yards. Simon Fletcher got it.
Charlie, Simon Fletcher had a great game a week ago. He had his first 2 quarterback sacks of the year and forced a fumble. He said he's really enjoying himself now, getting into the form of playing an outside stand-up linebacker. He was a defensive end previously, but watch him get penetration, beating Winslow inside and making the tackle on the ball carrier.
Third down and 13. It is a draw to Barry Redden, And he gets the 3 yards back to the 20. It'll be 4th down. It's now a final. Seattle losing to Kansas City. The Chiefs defeating the Seahawks by 21 points. So that means the Denver Broncos are the winners in the West. Western Division champions. Seattle is in the playoff as a wild card.
Right, and right now Denver is out here playing for that home field advantage, which is an important factor for Dan Reeves and his staff.
Casey Clark set to return the kick of Ralph Mozinko. Sisicki, he's selected to the Pro Bowl. That'll be in Hawaii. What a difference. Taken at the 28-yard line. Still on his feet. The 50. The 40. The 30. The 10. Touchdown, Denver. You gotta love it. To attempt a point after. Kubiak to hold. 7-0 Denver, and the Broncos have not been on offense. We've got a timeout. We'll be back to the start in a moment. "71 yards, Casey Clark." Here it is again.
Charlie, this is kind of like skating out there. Ping pong. Watch the hit by Billy Ray Smith, but he just kind of blows his way away and down the field. Speed is neutralized on this kind of field. Nice block by Tony Bodie going by. And the rest is up to Clark. There's Tony Lilly trying to direct traffic downfield, but there it goes the speed away. And a Charger tries to dive right at the end, but unable to grab Casey Clark.
There's Rod Bernstein, the tight end, the #1 draft choice that could not quite get to him. The deep back is Jamie Holland. Barefoot and on. Carlos kicking off. Oh, that one had to hurt. And this one is picked up by one of the upbacks, and that is Randy Kirk, the linebacker. And he returns it across the 30-yard line. Let's go back to the touchdown return.
Charlie, here's what I meant about ping pong. You just bounce around out there. Nobody gets hurt in the snow. At least that's what football players think. There's going to be a key block coming up by Tony Bodie somewhere in there. There he goes, sliding by. And from ground level, you can see that he just slides along, and it's difficult to get a clean shot at a running back in this kind of condition. There's Bernstein, as you mentioned, the final Charger trying to make the play, but Casey Clark has a touchdown.
First repump for a touchdown, says Gerald Willett. We'll come back to that graphic in just a moment. From the 35-yard line. Bernstein in motion to give us to Curtis Adams. 38-yard line, 3 yards. 2nd down and 7. Let's check the 10-minute ticker. That is a final that we gave you. Houston winning in the 4th quarter. Indianapolis way out in front of Tampa Bay.
And they would win the AFC East with a win in that game.
And the final that you saw that is so important. We'll come back to all these scores. We've got plenty of time. We don't want to rush through it. 2nd down and 7. Curtis Adams. Across the 40 to the 42-yard line. He's got 5. It'll be 3rd down. Still a couple to go for the 1st down.
Charlie, we will probably see Curtis Adams, and you notice Barry Redden in on the first series of downs for the Chargers. He's not played a great deal this year since being acquired by the Rams during the offseason. Both Adams and Redden, however, are good, tough inside runners, and because of the conditions, they'll be utilized much this afternoon.
Redden with only 10 carries and 5 receptions prior to this ballgame.
And I would imagine by the end of the day, he will at least have 10 carries because of the field.
3rd down. It was Winslow in motion from the shotgun. Herman, a little wobbly, and it's incomplete. It was high. 2 defenders went after it. Lionel James, the intended receiver. And it will be 4th down, and that means that Ralph Mozinko will be kicking again. And Casey Clark is back at the 20-yard line. His first punt was worth 51 yards. That's the good news. The bad news is that a 71-yard touchdown return. Lilly and Harden are the upbacks. And this will be taken by Lilly at the 22-yard line. Lilly to the right side. He's going to run out of room. 2 yards on the return, a 36-yard return. We've got a timeout, and Denver has the lead, 7-0. The best, the brightest, and the cold. It's John Elway, Sammy Winder, Gene Lang, Vance Johnson, Mark Jackson, Clarence Kay. That's the offensive set. With Studdard, Bishop, Freeman, Humphreys, and Lanier, the offensive line for the Denver Broncos. Their first time in offense. They lead, as you know, 7-0 on Casey Clark's 71-yard punt return. Elway from the shotgun on first down. He hands off to Sammy Winder.
Charlie, I'm a little surprised they went with the shotgun. They have been going nearly exclusively with the shotgun formation as we take a look at the defensive line of the Chargers. However, because of the conditions, there's that 5-yard snap that you've got to be concerned with.
The linebackers, Billy Ray Smith, Plummer, Benson, and Chip Banks. And in the secondary, Patterson, Bird, Bayless, and Glenn. Second down and 10, no gain. The ball at the 25-yard line. Winder is the running back in the shotgun with Elway. Jackson and Johnson are the wide receivers. High and almost intercepted. It is incomplete. Elvis Patterson going for it and couldn't put it down. Clarence Kay, the intended receiver. It'll be third down and 10. From a receiver standpoint, does the ball get cold and hard? Is it difficult to catch?
Well, it gets difficult to catch because it's wet. Generally, the officials do a good job of keeping the balls warm on the sideline. They've got a blower and the balls are covered and kept warm, so they don't get very hard. However, they do get wet. That makes it difficult to catch, especially a John Elway pass. He's got great velocity on his balls.
It's the wetness of the ball and not the cold that affects it. Third down and 10. Great protection. Close to the first down. They'll mark it down. He may be a little short of it.
Depends where they mark his slide.
Yeah, the beginning of the slide or the end.
Let's take another look at it. Everybody's covered. In the middle of the field, you see a linebacker for the Chargers, Billy Ray Smith, number 54, trying to shadow Elway, but he's got enough speed to get away. And there's the slide. He gets touched not until he gets toward the end of it, and I think that should give him the first down.
He's got it. He does have the first down. The added dimension of John Elway, who will be the starting quarterback in the Pro Bowl.
And I brought up the fact of Billy Ray Smith playing that middle linebacker spot. They move him so that he can shadow John Elway all over the field because Elway does have the great scrambling ability.
Leading the AFC quarterbacks in rushing, 6'4", 225 pounds, regardless of what they have in the program. He is big and strong and fast. First down Broncos at their own 35-yard line, leading 7-0. 9.5 minutes left first period. Winder with a flag down. When they dropped the flags, Gary Plummer made the tackle. When you drop the flags, you got to go pick them up in a hurry. The snow's going to cover them. They won't be able to find them.
Delay offense. First down.
And another problem, it may be difficult to see that 30-second clock because of the blistering wind.
Right, yeah.
They'll have to keep an eye on that this afternoon as well. A lot of different factors when you're playing snow like this. It's fun for a while. You know, you come out and it's cold initially, but you get yourself warmed up. There you see the clock. It's not easy to see with this blistering wind. But after a while, after you get warmed up and you're out in the field and playing, sliding around, there isn't a lot of pain because the hits don't seem as crisp. You're sliding and not getting the full blow because of speed.
First and 15. Winder and Lang are the running backs. Johnson in motion. Now he reverses and slides. Sammy Winder. A couple of yards. Gary Plummer with the tackle. It'll be second down about 13 at the 32-yard line. What you have a game plan. You have an offensive game plan. You have a defensive game plan. How much of that just goes out in the snow?
Oh, I think right away. I think you toss them out the window immediately. And I was wondering if that was Dan Reese or not. It's difficult to tell.
Somewhere along the sideline, if the Broncos winning is good. Elway from the shotgun, and he goes deep. It'll hang up, and it is caught out of bounds. Vance Johnson pulled it in, but out of bounds, and Danny Walters had to cover it.
And the reason that ball was underthrown, it's not because of the wind conditions especially. It's because of the footing. John Elway unable to get the footing underneath him to set himself to throw the football. He can cut through the wind. Of course, the ball will be affected somewhat, but he does have that strong arm to be able to cut through this kind of a condition.
Good play by Danny Walters, too, on the sideline. He stayed off of him rather than touching him, because if he pushes him out, then that is out. Al Saunders, the youngest NFL head coach of the far side, he stayed off the play knowing that it was out of bounds. Third down. And a little jumping and a flag. Pre-play for Elway. Deep, wobbly, high over the middle. It's intercepted, but it's not going to count. Vincey Glenn with the interception. Remember in San Diego, the last time they met, Glenn with 103 yards for a score, NFL record. But somebody jumped. Defensive lineman. They'll bring it back.
Offside. Number 99, third down.
Lee Williams, left side of your screen. It looked like inside as well. Chuck, number 78 jumped. I don't know if they had the correct number on that one.
I think Phillips did too.
Elway knew he had the right play, though. He had the free play on, and he threw into coverage. But again, it's a good calculated risk. Vincey Glenn comes up with the interception, but of course, it's all brought back.
Does everybody recognize the free play situation at the same time, or only the quarterback?
Receivers should recognize it immediately because they're looking in at the ball. They're not going on the voice count of the quarterback. They should see someone jump off sides immediately.
Third down and 7. Tony Bodie is in the lineup. He is the key block for K.C. Clark's 71-yard punt return early in the ball game. High, wobbly, far side, incomplete. Another problem throwing, it'll be 4th down, so Denver will have to kick, is that the ball is going to sail on you because you simply cannot grip it as well as you would like.
All right, again, it's the wet ball that's the problem. It's the footing and it's the wet ball. And that's the problem that Elway will have today.
So Mike Horan is in to kick. He had a 51.5-yard average last week. And Michael James tried to stay warm as a return man.
Yeah, he's putting the tape over the ear holes so that he can keep his ears warm. I don't think it's going to do much good, though.
He's thrilled to be there. I can tell that. Pretty good kick under these conditions. Just stay away from it. He never got it. It's going to roll to the 10. It's going to be down to at the 5, maybe the 4-yard line. Bobby Mitchell was down with the coverage. 57 yards on the kick. Denver has the lead, 7-0.
Computer. Nice play by Mike Moran, the punter for the Broncos. He gets a high snap, and he's able to pull it down. That could have been a disaster for them. Now watch the other side. Lionel James, the punt returner, watch him put his hands in his pockets. Hey, it's cold out there. He's not going to go to try to pick this football up. And also a nice play by Mitchell, downing the football. I'm not even sure where the goal line is there. He had to grab it, realizing that it was getting close to the marker.
They caught it the 3-yard line. San Diego first down, Denver leading 7-0. 7.5 minutes left to go first quarter. Tim Spencer. Spencer goes, let's call it the 10-yard line. So he has 7 yards, and it's 2nd down and 3. Houston defeats Cincinnati. That means that San Diego is out of any playoff possibilities. Indianapolis, big over Tampa Bay. Kansas City defeats Seattle. That means, of course, that Denver wins the West. Seattle still in the playoffs. The Giants over the Jets, 20-7 in the final. Dallas wins, and Philadelphia, 17-7 over Buffalo. Dallas game still in progress. Spencer, let's give him a couple of yards. He needed 3 for the first down. Let's see where they spotted a couple other scores that are finals. New Orleans continuing on their winning ways, defeating Green Bay 33-24, and Detroit downs Atlanta 30-13, which may mean that Detroit loses the number 1 draft choice.
And that Atlanta might get it. Yeah. There's so many tie-breaking systems, even at the bottom end of the spectrum. It's difficult to say definitively who's in and who's out these days. But we do know a couple of things. One, Indianapolis with their win wins the East. San Diego, of course, cannot make it to the playoffs with Houston's win this afternoon.
With 3rd down and 6, I miscalled a snowbank for a lineman there. Lionel James is smothered. Carl Mecklenburg was just waiting on him, as was Rulon Jones, and that's a pair that they'll move around together.
Now watch Carl Mecklenburg inside. Rulon Jones beats the block, as does Mecklenburg, and Lionel James had very little opportunity. He did a good job simply hanging on to the football under the conditions.
Ralph Bojinko will be kicking, and the touchdown returning K.C. Clark, a 71-yarder, the only score of the ball game. And he is out near midfield. Good kick. Pistol falls down. Here comes Clark. He's to the 40. He stopped around the 38-yard line. Billy Ray Smith got him this time. A 44-yard kick, a 15-yard return. Denver has the ball and a 7-0 lead.
Your footing is not only difficult for the players, but watch this official right here. Keep your eye on him as the ball comes down. Boom. Oh, there he is. There he falls to the ground right as the ball comes down for K.C. Clark.
That's Don Orr, the field judge. And we'll call it. They're saying, the scoreboard's saying the 40-yard line. I think it's closer to the 38, but 40 is fine by me. Is lying on the draw. Jumps to the outside. And he has about 6 or 7 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down. Chuck Ian and Billy Ray Smith.
Charlie, he's got that visor on, and that is a problem in these snow conditions.
Sure,
he's getting up and with his glasses trying to wipe it away. It may be difficult as the day goes on trying to keep that thing clear.
The windshield wiper. 2nd down. Mobley in motion. Always scrambling. Short of the 1st down. Lee Williams got him. The added dimension of Elway, and that, of course, is scrambling ability, not to get outside to throw, but now to be able to run for yardage.
Well, watch who comes in the picture. It's Gary Plummer, number 50. He's that kind of a shadow linebacker. He's going to make sure that Elway, when he tries to take the middle after he decides to scramble, he's not going to get the middle of the field. That's something Elway does so very well. That's why he can't play man-to-man coverage against them. He open up the middle of the field. Elway will take it time and time again. It seems the Chargers, however, are assigning a linebacker to take that part of Elway's game away.
3rd down and 2. It'll be close, but it looks as if Winder does get the 1st down. We brought up a point earlier, the changing of your game plan. You just throw it all out the window and recreate, or do you use only a part of it?
Well, I think a lot of it is thrown out the window. You've got to go to the conditions here, right? And they're making the decision whether on 4th and a couple of minutes.
It's going to be short.
Yeah, it's going to be short. I think you have to adapt and decide to go with the running attack in this kind of weather. Certainly the Chargers, I think, as we're seeing, are going to the running game much more than they would in normal conditions. And, of course, Elway is not under the shotgun. He, more often than not, is under center.
San Diego wants a timeout. The reason they were running some players on and off, they were afraid that the snap would happen before they had cleared the far sideline, and it would be too many men on the field. And they would have been caught in a situation where it's 4th down and less than a yard for the 1st down.
Well, it's decision time. Of course, now the conditions as well are going to affect what decision the Dan Reeves and the Broncos will eventually make. Coming onto the field trying to kick a field goal in these conditions. Remember the snowplow game?
You played in the snowplow game in New England.
Right. That game was decided by a field goal, 3-0. The Patriots beat the Dolphins, but it was conditions just like this. The snowplow keeper was a man who was on a work release program from a local prison, came on and cleared a path so that a field goal kicker could kick the football. The problem isn't because of generally the conditions, but the footing. The kicker's got to be able to plant in order to get the ball off. And that's one of the reasons that maybe Dan Reeves and the Broncos coaching staff is considering going for it on 4th and 1 when maybe they wouldn't in better field conditions.
Now, you were in the end zone in that ball game. What happened?
I knew you'd have to bring this
That's
up.
what I had to.
Yeah, well, they kicked the field goal, and it was 3-0 with about 5 seconds left, and I was in the end zone. They threw me the ball, and I dropped it, and we lost the football game. But the weather had a lot to do with that, Charlie.
But moving on with the point, when you're in the end zone, how do you want to? You want to capture it with your hands or your body? How do you want to do it?
I think you try to catch the ball with your body, but what do I know? I dropped it in these conditions.
No, and here's Elway with the quarterback sneak, which everybody expected. And he's going to have the first down. Jerry Bergman, the head linesman, is signaling the first down. What he did is he took a half a step forward to where the first down marker was behind him so he could look right down. Meanwhile, are you ready for this? We're at the right side of the stadium. At the left side of the stadium, they're clearing off the yard markers at the goal line and at the 10 and at the 20. They're doing it in 10-yard increments. You can see as the snow is covering it over on the right side. Well, at the other end of the field, they're busy at work keeping it clean. Here's Gene Lang, and he is pulled down around the 12-yard line by Vincent Glenn. That's the opposite end. They're busy at work. They don't care about the game. They got to keep those yard markers clean. Because eventually, they'll come back down there. Denver has a first down at the 12-yard line of San Diego. Denver leads 7-0. Moving on the 2-minute mark, time remaining here in the first quarter. Fake. It gives him a draw. A yard shy of the goal line, Sammy Winder. 11 yards on the play.
Charlie, again, Elway going from under center. That's something they have not done since back in the Chicago Bear game. Because of the snap, they've got to. A nice block by Mobley, number 89, to clear a path. And just shy, you can see the red line that does designate the goal line. That's the only way we can tell whether he's in the end zone or not.
And you expect Elway to go with a quarterback sneak here. Here's Winder. Touchdown. The official on the far side signals touchdown. The official on the near side, when he went up with his signal, his feet were sliding out from under him. Meanwhile, Winder scores, and Denver leads 13-0 with the extra point to come. Rich Karlis to attempt a point after.
And Karlis hasn't been on the sideline long enough to keep that foot of his warm. He's been out here too often.
Larry Lee is the snapper. Kubiak to hold, high snap, good hands. Oh, yes. Gary Kubiak pulled it down. And it's a 14-0 ball game. They always talk about field goal attempts and extra points. It's the snapper, the holder, and the kicker. And here's a perfect example.
Yeah, Kubiak with the great hand showing. That's why you usually have a quarterback or a wide receiver in there trying to hold for your kicker because of the great hands. Kubiak, if he never throws a pass for the Broncos, simply being a good backup quarterback for Elway and holding on those kicks, he really does earn his paycheck in that sense.
The time remaining in the first quarter is 1 minute and 4 seconds.
That, of course, the Bronco outside of Mile High Stadium, so difficult to see the mountains in the background. But take our word for them, the mountains are there somewhere in that picture.
Jamie Holland is the deep back. There's the drive. 7 plays, 38 yards, 4 minutes, 20 seconds. Winder from a yard out. .104 left to go in the first. Denver leading 14-0.
He's either a very brave man or not a very intelligent one. I've got to tell you, walking around in the snow, Rich, Carlos, he's a great kicker, but more guts than I think I've got, Charlie.
On the sideline, he does keep his foot warm in a moon boot. This is Jamie Harlan at the 10, to the 20, the 30, the 40. Slips away. Carlos is the man who pushed him out. Rich Carlos saves the touchdown.
The reason we're seeing so many good returns this afternoon is because the speed is taken away. The team coming down to make the tackle does not have any speed underneath them, and that's the reason why you see the coverage not getting down in time to make the play on the return man. A good play by Carlos to save the touchdown.
43 yards on the return by Jamie Holland. The ball is at the 44-yard line. First down. Mark Herman, the quarterback. Winslow. At about the 30. 13 yards on the play. Greg Cragen is the man who stopped it. Blizzard conditions in Denver.
This is a big day for Mark Herman as well, Charlie.
It's a big day for the weatherman. If they're cleaning the right side. Now, in case there's an interception, they'll get out of the way.
Yeah, but the problem is the left side that he just cleared is the blistering weather is now covering the area. You're not able to see it.
That's right. Tim Spencer. Mecklenburg with the tackle. First quarter is in the freezer. Denver leads it 14-0. Early games today, Houston won, and that means, of course, that San Diego loses all playoff possibilities. Indianapolis with a big win. Kansas City over Seattle, so Denver, the champions in the West. The Giants defeat the Jets. Dallas, that's now a final, down St. Louis. That means that Minnesota's in the playoffs. And Philadelphia over Buffalo by 10. New Orleans defeats Green Bay, and Detroit with a win over Atlanta. And the Raiders are leading Chicago in Los Angeles in the second quarter by a score of 3-0. And here in blizzard conditions at Mile High Stadium, it's Denver 14 and San Diego nothing as we start the second quarter.
It's even snowing inside of our booth up here.
Yes, I was looking to see if there's a cloud above us here.
The wind is blowing right into our booth. And the conditions actually, as we take a look at the first half statistics, have gotten worse during the first quarter. You know, not a whole lot of offense. Actually, the punt return by Casey Clark now reflected in those statistics that you see. The Broncos, no passing yardage. When was the last time that John Elway went a quarter without getting any passing yardage at all?
Mark Herman. Herman started his professional career here in Denver. And in his rookie season, he had no muscle definition at all. They put him on a weight program, and they came back, they could find a little bit of muscle in his arm. They awarded him the Golden Tricep Award as he started his second season. Intercepted. Jim Ryan with the interception.
Take a look at it. He had all the time that he needed to throw the ball. He makes the wrong choice. It seemed that Ryan bumped little Train James, number 26, for just a minute, but he was going after the football, and so that's a good move. No flag there. A nice move on the part of number 50, Jim Ryan, for the interception.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Charlie Jones along with Jimmy Cefalo and the snow in Denver. -7. The wind chill factor at kickoff, and we are now we're researching that it was 18 degrees at kickoff. I have the feeling it's continuing to drop this afternoon, and so it's going to get colder as the afternoon goes on. Denver with the ball at their end of the field, and Sammy Winder to the outside, and he's going to be brought down in the neighborhood of the line of scrimmage by Chuck Ian.
to Chuck Ian. A nice play by him, substituting for the injured Mike Charles. Charles, a substitute player who stuck with the San Diego team, went out with an knee injury last week, and Ian doing a good job thus far of trying to shut down that Bronco running game.
Elvis Patterson was also over there for the secondary. Speaking of Elvis Patterson, what does this do to the cornerbacks? Near blizzard conditions. Hello, Minnesota. Hi, Ethan.
I wonder if they made that up before or after.
Oh, I think it looks like they just did it, actually. I got to tell you, this is a screen pass. Slow to develop. There's Winder. Good defensive play. Everything is moving as if you're in slow motion. You can.
Right, that's the reason that the offense has the advantage. They know where they're going. The defense has to react, and when you react and try to get yourself restarted, you're going to slip on these bad conditions. You asked earlier about the defensive backs. I think that's the most difficult position on the field today, because they're the ones who've got to cover the quick wide receivers. Yeah, that speed's taken away.
Wait, excuse me, that's not a hat, is it? Or is it? No, that's hair covered with snow. these fans, great fans here. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
It's just those defensive backs have got to react, and it's the toughest spot on the field.
So I have broke your train of thought. The screen pass, Elway's first completion of the ball game. Far side, knocked away. Good defensive play. It's Danny Walters, as Mark Jackson was the intended receiver. You know, we have the three frozen amigos for the Denver Broncos.
Elway with that quick arm. Notice the ball fluttering. You never see an Elway ball flutter because he can't set his feet. That's the reason. And the nice play by Walters coming over to break it up.
Fourth down.
But how often, we've done a lot of Bronco games the last couple of years. You never see an Elway pass flutter in the air. Combination of things. The problems with his footing and also the great wind conditions here.
Mike Horan will be kicking. Lionel James and Gary Anderson are the deep backs. James on the near side, Anderson on the far side. James. The 40. The 41-yard line. Simon Fletcher makes the tackle. We've got a timeout, and Denver has the lead in the snow, 14-0. And speaking of best and brightest, we'll be sliding right into the playoffs. The wild card game next weekend, Seattle at Houston, Denver, Cleveland, and Indianapolis all in the playoffs. A Denver victory today, they lead 14-0, will give them home field advantage throughout the playoffs. A Denver loss gives the home field advantage to Cleveland throughout the playoffs. Mark Herman passes complete to Tim Spencer from the 41-yard line in San Diego territory. Maybe a yard, possibly two. Mecklenburg making the tackle.
Sure, you won't see many sacks here this afternoon either. I think that a defensive coordinator like Joe Collier might try to play a zone all the way across the field if he can. Let a three-man rush go at the quarterback, maybe send one outside linebacker, and try to make Herman find a hole in the zone. With these conditions, it's not easy to do.
In the red cap, is that Joe Collier? Yes. Second down and 8. Adams right side. He's going to be a couple of yards shy of the first down. Mike Harden and Carl Mecklenburg making the tackle. We're getting the official call on the line from the sideline being relayed through the truck, and then when the graphic comes up, then you will know that that is an official approximation of where the ball is.
There's also some questions.
That left you speechless, didn't it?
It did, because I didn't understand it at all.
I don't have any idea. Seemed like a nice thing to say at the time.
Well, from the yard markers that I could see, it looks like it's about 3rd down and 3, but don't hold us to it. It's difficult to even see the orange markers on the side of the field.
Adams. It looks as if it's about a half-yard shy of the first down. Mike Harden. Jim Ryan for the defense. But it's really hard to tell today. Ralph Mojinko, the kicker, on the far side, number 2.
But he's not coming in. They're going to bring some of their bigger offensive linemen in the game. Charlie Curtis Rouse, number 79, who weighs in at a little more than 300 pounds, is on the field to give a little added blocking protection. And I think Ken Dalfer, number 61, at 6'4", 277, is also in the game.
Rouse, a little more than 300, is 40 more than 300.
340.
340. I suspect they will want to run behind him. Quarterback sneak by Irvin, and here comes the Denver defense, and they hold. It appears as if Denver will take over on down.
Now, this is also unusual because line surge is the most important factor with a quarterback sneak. And again, the offensive linemen of the Chargers know when the ball is going to be snapped. They should get the jump of the ball right away. But in this instance, it's the Denver Broncos who makes the big play. Rouse is on the left side of your screen. You'll see. Let's see what kind of movement he gets. Not very much. Hundley, number 98, going over the top. Lilly, number 22. Wilson, 45. And they're actually, some of the offensive linemen of the Chargers are in the backfield. They're pushed backwards by that front surge of Denver.
Denver may have celebrated too soon, though. The chains are going to come out. Now they've got to clean off the line marker of where the line is underneath or where to mark the chain down. And Denver holds, and they do take over on down. Walt Boyer also had a hand in that stop for the Denver defense. And so the offense comes out with Sammy Winder and Gene Lang, the running backs, and Elway, the quarterback. 10 minutes and 22 seconds. That is the time remaining in the first half. Denver leading by a score of 14-0. Casey Clark, a 71-yard punt return for the touchdown. That was the first one. Sammy Winder got the second one from a yard out. That's the 50-yard line, in case you were wondering. That's Ricky Nattiel in motion. And Winder the ball carrier. Les Miller with the tackle. The teams in the playoffs in the NFC: San Francisco or New Orleans, Washington, Chicago. It'll be Minnesota versus New Orleans. And San Francisco and New Orleans, they're in the playoffs. It's just who will be the champions in the West and who will be the wild card. Washington and Chicago in. Second down and 9. Away from the shotgun. Incomplete. Do we have a flag down? Yes, we had a motion call against Denver. Suspect it will be refused.
Illegal motion, number 70.
That game plan you mentioned earlier, Charlie, has kind of gotten out.
70 declined, third down.
Of course, they will decline the penalty. It has gone out the window. How many times will they just go with 6 pass attempts and a little more than a quarter with John Elway?
And only 1 completion for 2 yards.
And that was the screen we saw earlier in the contest. They went to Winder over in the flag.
Tony Bodie is in the offense. Free play, San Diego offside. The pass is complete for the first down. They'll take the first down. They had a free play. This is Ricky Nattiel who caught it. Patterson was there, 11 yards. I think it was Les Miller who was in the neutral zone.
Number 69 declined, first down.
This is a designed rollout play. Elway is going to take the snap. Bishop forces his man inside. They pull the guard, Humphries, number 79, outside. And Clarence Key, number 88, tries to hold up the defensive end. They try to get Elway outside of the pocket. Under these conditions, it really doesn't matter. The key there is that Nattiel got open and Elway got on the football.
36-yard line, San Diego territory, first down. In case you joined us late, we have been skiing. We have been building snowmen. We're in a blizzard in Denver. -7 degrees wind chill factor. Wobbly pass incomplete to Winder in the left flat. The blowers on the sideline just trying. Is it advantage, disadvantage to go to the heaters on the sideline to try and stay warm? Because then you've got to go back out to it? Yeah. Or is it better just to stay cold the whole time?
I try to stay away from them. Because
I'm going to go out in the hallway and get warm myself.
Because you get into that mindset that you're worried about the elements and the conditions. I think coaches look behind to find out who's at the heaters and who's got the gloves on, who wore the extra padding. You got to play in these conditions. You might as well go out and know that for 3 hours you can do the best you can. You're going to be cold, but do what you can do.
I'm back. It's warm out in the hall. Second down. Elway will go out of bounds. Lee Williams and Les Miller chasing him.
And that was the same exact play they tried before, trying to roll Elway out of the pocket. And that time, Natil was well covered downfield on the little out pattern. And they're well covered.
Looks like we're going to the Antarctic. Now, there is something. If we could get a shot, Chet Forty, our director, who is there warm, a shot of the upper deck. We talked about this at the top of the show. Is that in the upper deck they are sitting in their assigned seats. Nobody has moved down to better seats. And there are some better ones remaining. I think that's great. Elway with the shotgun. Did he get it? It was Watson going after it. Yes! Steve Watson's first reception of the ball game, his second reception since he came back off of that injury of 6 rib, and he gets another great ovation.
They love Watson here in Denver, and he came back from a severe injury, 6 broken ribs about 10 weeks ago. Watch the slide. One of the reasons that Watson has been around as long as he has, not because of his great speed or his great moves, because he's able to dive after footballs, go after everything. He comes up with the incredible catch. That's been his trademark, and he just does it again, even in the snow.
A free agent in 1979. This is his 9th season. Played his collegiate ball at Temple. A great favorite here in Denver. First down. Here's Winder on the draw with a couple of yards. They've been looking for a nickname for Steve Watson. Finally, they kind of call him the Blade because he's rather slender. And they said, oh, that fits. They had some fancy ones. They said, no, that's the best one.
Well, they went to RoboCop last week. He's got so much padding on because of those 6 broken ribs that they began calling him RoboCop.
And he's there staying warm, gathered around. Number 81, Steve Watson. Winder and Lang are the running backs. Ricky Natil, the wide receiver, to the near side, and he starts in motion. Winder for 3 or 4 yards. Billy Ray Smith makes the tackle. When Natil, the wide receiver, came outside and had his hands inside of his jersey, you almost knew that it was not going to be a pass.
Yeah, I could say that's a definite key. If I was a defensive back and I saw the receiver with his hands in his pockets, I wouldn't think they were going to throw the football either. Football players do a lot of strange things to keep warm in these weathers. I even had a group of players in Miami thought that cayenne pepper put inside of the shoes would help keep the feet warm.
Does it?
I don't know. I wasn't dumb enough to try it, but there were a number of players who did.
I heard that's an old wives' tale.
Well, I think it is. I didn't buy it, though.
I'd heard that's a play action fake. It is tipped and is incomplete. Coming high, Natil, the intended receiver.
Elway upset with himself. It seems that he thought he should have completed that ball, and he should have. Really, he was just a little high on it. Maybe to get his feet set just correctly.
And Carlos will come out with a field goal attempt. We were talking with Dan Reeves yesterday. He said the slow start of John Elway was Reeves' fault. He said it was my fault. The reason Marino got the great start is that at Miami, Shula had worked with a lot of young quarterbacks. He said, this was my first young quarterback. I made a lot of mistakes, but boy, he's really developed. The key here, as well as the kicker, the snapper, and the holder, 35-yard field goal attempt. No good. Missing to the right side from 35 yards away. We have 6:35 left in the first half, and Denver leads. Did you get a present like that for Christmas?
Nobody. They're unbelievable. I was wondering what they were.
That's right.
There's someone to give me a football, though, one of those little footballs that are alarm clocks. The way you shut them off, you throw them against the wall.
And then they go off again, and you got to go find them?
Well, in New York City, if I throw it out the, I may hit the window and go out. There's a lot of people down below at 4 o'clock in the morning who can make a nice catch.
We hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. And we hope wherever you are today that it's warmer than it is here. Herman pass, far side. It is incomplete.
Now they're
going to say it is complete. And inbound.
That's Jamie Holland with a nice catch on the sideline.
Jamie Holland with the 4.3 speed.
Well, that 4.3 speed goes out the window here, but he does have enough ability to dive and make the catch in the snow. That's not an easy catch because when you hit the ground, not only do you have to worry about trying to catch the ball, but the snow bounces up in your face and your eyes. It takes great concentration to catch in this kind of condition.
That is only his 4th reception of the year. A young man that they have high hopes for. First down, San Diego, trailing 14-0. Spencer. 12, maybe 13 yards, and the first down. Tony Lilly with the tackle along with Mike Harden. You like those suspenders?
They're terrific.
Did you get other gifts that were kind of fun? Did you have a good Christmas? By the way, Jimmy was home for the holidays, home for Christmas, for the first time in 12 years.
Since I was 18 years old. Yeah, it's the first time in a while. It was a lot of fun. This is also a lot of fun. The difference between a long run and a short one is a block by a wide receiver. There you see Anderson, number 40, trying to make the block downfield. He did get the running back just a little bit of yardage, but if he makes that block, then the running back is into the end zone.
First down, San Diego. At their own 46-yard line, here's Spitzer. About 5 yards on the play. And the reason that this was Jimmy's first time he'd been home for Christmas in 12 years, the family moved, didn't tell him where they went. No, it wasn't that. You went to Penn State, you were in bowl games, and then you were always in the playoffs with the Miami Dolphins. That's the reason. You were always playing football over the holidays.
Yeah, football kind of takes over during the holidays, it seems sometimes, but it was great to get back home.
Second down and 5. We're moving on the 5-minute mark. Time remaining in the first half. Denver with a 71-yard punt return and 1 drive with Winder scoring from a yard out. This is going to be just shy of the first down. Spencer again getting the call. And it is cold. But everybody's having a good ski Colorado. You could do it this afternoon. We could ski the stands here.
Ski Mile High Stadium.
Ski Mile High Stadium.
Could also be a lot of fun in the stands, though. If people are staying together, warm, a lot of body heat.
Little body heat. Third down, less than a yard. First down. Curtis Adams gets it. Driven back by Ricky Hundley. But he has the first down.
Take a look at it. Hundley coming from his inside linebacker spot. A nice block by Spencer, it looks like, coming up inside. And Curtis Adams gets just enough for the first down. Hundley had come under some criticism on the part of the coaching staffs in the last couple of weeks. They said he did not play with enough enthusiasm, but last week he played very well, made a couple of key plays, and this afternoon looks like he's on target once again.
First down, San Diego. Play action fake. Freezing the linebackers. It is caught. Is that Holland? Yes. Jamie Holland with the reception, plus about a 9-yard slide, and he gets all of the slide because he wasn't down till the end of it by Steve Wilson. 32-yard play.
This is a crossing pattern. Holland comes from exactly the other side of the field. He beats Wilson, and you're right, Charlie. He's gaining yards until he gets touched. But that ball popped out right at the end. He should have covered it because actually Wilson did not touch him, and the ball slipped loose. But once again, that play is not under the preview of the replay official any longer.
10-yard line. First down. Here's Spencer. Caught from behind. It is Mecklenburg again.
Mecklenburg voted to the Pro Bowl for the 3rd year in a row, coming from inside this time. He plays 7 different spots. running Spencer down. Spencer looking for a block up front. Didn't get one from Bernstein, number 82.
Fitzpatrick was the lead guard. There's an injured player. So we have an injury timeout with 2:34 left to go. That is Spencer who is down. I just thought of something terrible. You know, if it's a knee, do you put ice on it, or do you just put it to the elements?
I think you just get him into the locker room, but it looks like he is limping around. It just may be a knee.
But there's not a lot of, you know, and hopefully this isn't anything serious, but there's not a lot of injuries in days like this.
No, they're not. You slip and slide along. So much of the knee injuries and ankle injuries are caused because of a turf. When you get stuck in a turf, you get hit and the knee will jam or the ankle will twist. Here you don't have much traction. You're slipping and you're sliding, and so there's a decreased amount of injuries. Plus, you can't get any great speed up, so defensive players are not running at full speed. The collision is not as great as it would be.
The game, of course, is sellout as they always are here at Mile High Stadium, and naturally on local television. So if you're watching back at the hotel, we will return, all of us. It'll be a big party in the lobby tonight. Little swing right side. It's Anderson. Had a little trouble holding on to it. Got it. Goes to the 9-yard line. Gary Anderson. And we're approaching the 2-minute mark. We've got a timeout. 2-minute warning to both benches. And Denver out in front by a score of 14-0.
Page 5, headings. He wants them bolder.
Check. Presenting personal publishing with the IBM Personal System 2.
Page 7, artwork, smaller. No, bigger.
Well, make up my mind, will you?
Oh, no!
What?
The bonuses.
Everything your business needs
Okay, print it.
to create quality documents in-house on short notice.
I'd like you to make a few changes.
Now get a $1,000 rebate on the IBM PS2 Model 80 with personal publishing.
This is Charlie Jones, Jimmy Cefalo, Mile High Stadium. In the snow. There we are.
All type of ways to try to keep.
That's Jimmy on the right. It started snowing about 11 o'clock yesterday morning. And when I got up early here, I came in on Friday night. It was beautiful, clear, very cold night. And it was nice in the morning. And then about 11 o'clock, it started snowing, and it's been snowing ever since. We had almost 12 inches overnight, and expect another 6 to 8 today, this afternoon and this evening. Headliners, Eric Dickerson. What a difference he has made with that ball club. The Colts win the AFC East. They win the championship. 196 yards rushing. Oilers clinch first playoff spot in 7 years, and Minnesota's in the playoffs due to St. Louis's loss to Dallas. Third down, 8-yard line. Herman in zone, waiting for a flag, and they did not get it. Holohan went down. Did he just lose his footing?
I don't know. Holohan seemed to be bumped. Was it Mecklenburg, number 77, going over there? Well, no, it looked like he really did slip from that angle. It's difficult to tell, but Tony Lilly, number 22, was in the area. Not a lot of complaints on the part of the Charger receiver, so maybe it was a good play.
So it is incomplete. Mojiko will be holding. Vince Abbott will attempt the field goal. It's going to be from around the 17-yard line to a 27-yard attempt. 26. Dennis McKnight is the snapper. No good. So Abbott has missed his last 5 in a row. Score remains Denver 14, San Diego nothing. The conditions, you simply cannot plant. There's no leverage.
Right, his left foot is the most important. You can see it sliding there underneath. He knew it right away. Shanked it farther left.
We come back to the 20-yard line. Gene Lang, the ball carrier. And the time remaining in the first half, 1.5 minutes.
Cleveland Brown fans have to be a little upset about this, sitting there thinking about, well, you know, you wish San Diego had an opportunity to, and it is not easy.
Phil Cantrell. Hey, Phil, turn around and wave to everybody. Phil, we got a shot of you. Stay alert. Hey, wait a go.
He's concentrating on his shot.
Oh, he's staying warm. He's got a warm position in this. Here's Winder. Go ahead, go back to what you were talking about there.
Cleveland Brown fans are interested in this contest this afternoon because if Denver would lose this game, then Cleveland will get home field throughout the playoffs. And so they must be a little upset thinking, you know, you wish you had a contest where it was two teams going after to find out who the best is. This is simply a game of field conditions and who can perform better in the adverse weather.
Is this more a game of luck?
Yeah, I think so. I think it really is. It's a game of luck. Who can hang on to the football? And this is also a game of luck. Will he make it to the top of Mile High Stadium?
Man's going to the bathroom, and he may never make it. He may freeze. Exactly. San Diego called a timeout. They have one timeout left. We have 1 minute and 2 seconds left. Meanwhile, all over the field, now this is about the 5-yard line. An extra 120 people were brought in to clean the stands and to work the stadium and to work the markers, and you can see they're constantly just trying to get the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, they're trying to keep those clean to have some point of reference.
And underneath here, this is prescription turf, it's called. They had a tarp on this field till about an hour before game time, and they actually are able to warm it underneath to about 65 degrees, we're told. But as soon as the tarp comes off, the heaters must be taken away, and so this will continue to freeze as the day goes along.
Play action to Winder. Elway's pass is incomplete. Looking deep, there is nobody deep.
He's trying to hit Natil on the far sideline. He had him one-on-one, actually.
Now, there is a reason, though, that they're turning. People say, why are they turned off when play? Because if somebody happens to slip or dig deep or that type of thing, they could, cause a...
There's a coil underneath there that's electrically moved, and if someone would slip through the turf, it could be a bad injury. There's electrical current going through there. That's the reason why the heating system underneath is turned off.
Now, Mike Horan will be kicking to Lionel James. This is about the same situation where San Diego kicked to Denver in the first quarter, and Casey Clark returned it 71 yards for a score. James takes it. 2 fakes up the middle. Just a couple of steps away. He was very close to breaking that. 40-yard kick with a 10-yard return. Rick Dennison with the tackle.
And a couple of nice moves by James. It's so difficult to make a move on this kind of a field. I'm surprised he was able to put a couple of moves on defenders and get away. Take a look at it. Straight up the gut he's coming. They've got a return set up, and it's tough to find the wall. There he puts a nice move on Fletcher, number 73. And they're back up the middle until Dennison is able to drag him down from behind.
What kind of shoes do you wear?
Well, I don't think it much matters, because if you put spikes on in this stuff, you're going to slide along the top surface anyway.
When you have tennis shoes, you're going to slide
in.
Right,
sneakers are as good as anything. Feel comfortable as you can.
Here's the screen. Barry Redden. And the clock is stopped with 36 seconds left. Jim Ryan with the defensive coverage for Denver. Time remaining in the first half. At Mile High Stadium.
Sorry, Charlie. Herman also has to play with a long field here because of the conditions. Abbott is not going to be able to. We just saw him miss from 26 yards. So they've got to play the long field, try to get the ball into the end zone, as opposed to a normal field. You try to get in line for a field goal.
And as you can tell from the graphic, the second quarter has not been to the benefit of the Chargers this year. 2nd down and 6. Herman's pass on target. Big first down, Jamie Holland. Holland has 20 yards on the play, and his total today, with only 3 receptions coming into the game, he has 3 for 70.
He's found his niche. He's a snow receiver. That's exactly what he is. They should play in snow all the time for this guy. Look at him, diving catches in between 2 defenders. So often, players love to play in the snow. I always love to play in the snow. I mean,
well, you're from Pittston, Pennsylvania, where there's a lot of snow.
Yeah, and you slide along. You're not the element of injury is taken away completely. And so you go out there as a receiver, able to dive in between people and feel more comfortable with it. It seems that Holland has that knack.
San Diego using their last timeout. And Jamie Holland played his collegiate ball at Ohio State, so he's used possibly maybe that whole factor works into to his advantage, taking the 7th round of the draft.
That's right. He was the backup to Chris Carter, the great All-American wide receiver from Ohio State, having an opportunity now to show what he could do as a member of the Chargers. At least lately he has. Early in the season, of course, he was not utilized much at all.
I'm trying to find his hometown here for you. Raleigh, North Carolina. Well, that takes care of that. There's not that much snow in Raleigh. Another theory bites the dust at Mile High Stadium. Over the middle, incomplete. Kellen Winslow, the intended receiver, he was a little tentative, even in looking around. He wasn't expecting it at all.
Yeah, he's called a check down receiver. When Herman's in trouble, he's going to go to Winslow right away, but he doesn't even turn around and look for the football, actually.
He figured with no timeouts remaining, they got to go to the outside receivers and only 22 seconds on the clock.
Well, that's a good point. Herman may have wanted to throw that football away as well, too.
Second down. Intercepted. Mike Harden. And he's out of bounds. Knocked out by Dennis McMartin. So Denver will take over with 13 seconds. Here's the interception.
Mike Harden, this is his 3rd position he's played for this Bronco team this year. He's played corner, free safety, and now strong safety. Surprisingly, he was not elected to the Pro Bowl this season. A lot of Bronco fans felt he should have been. Nice play, stepping in front of the receiver and getting out of bounds.
And the second time that Herman has been intercepted in this ball game. And of course, one of the reasons that Harden did not make the Pro Bowl is the fact he's played 3 different positions. And when you vote, it's a tendency to vote for the ones that have been there before in that particular position. With that play, we come to the end of the first half. With the score, the Denver Broncos 14 and the San Diego Chargers nothing. We're in a blizzard in Mile High Stadium as Denver, if they can win, will have home field throughout the playoffs. Back after these messages from your local station. Welcome back to the snow in Denver's Mile High Stadium. The temperature, we're chasing it down to make it official. The wind chill factor was 7 degrees below 0 at kickoff, and Denver out in front by a score of 14-0. And I finally had to go to the cap. It's just getting too cold. It really is cold.
Yeah, it is really cold this afternoon. It's an unusual game. Snow games always are. Running attacks are the important order of the day. And so far, it seems that the Denver Broncos have gotten the breaks this afternoon and also have done some things. They deserve this 14-0 lead. For example, the punt return by Casey Clark. And also, they've been able to control the game with field position, it seems. San Diego's not been as fortunate. They've gotten the good punts by Majenko, but he's outkicked his coverage on occasion, and that's the reason for the return by Casey Clark.
Denver had the one scoring drive, and that, of course, is Sammy Winder went in from a yard out at the end of that. It wasn't that long, around 38, 39 yards. And Casey Clark with the 71-yard punt return, and that was the first score of the ball game, and in reality set the tone as to who would control the ball game.
Yeah, it did, and you saw the numbers on John Elway, just 30 yards passing. You might think that was the least amount of yards he's had passing in a half. Well, it wasn't. Earlier this year at Buffalo, he had just 10 yards for one half. And in 1983, he had just 10 yards per half. Here is the return by Casey Clark. You can see it is like playing ping pong out there, sliding and slipping along. Speed has nothing to do with this contest at all. It's just a matter of who can keep their feet or not. He gets a couple of key blocks, one from Bodie, number 24, and then downfield from Lilly, number 22.
An advantage you always see in this kind of situation to the offense because they know where they're going and the defense has to react. But is there an advantage to a wide receiver or to a running back who can run flat-footed or run on their heels and has more balance than the cutter slasher type runner?
Well, it's like a horse. It's a mutter. You're a mutter. Yeah, a snower in these conditions. Obviously, Casey Clark knows how to play in these kind of conditions. There's a look at the current conditions out there thus far. Minus 23 is the wind chill.
No wonder I had to put the cap on. Minus 23. And the temperature 17 degrees.
And we still have, to the credit of the fans here at Mile High Stadium, they are here.
Yes.
And they can watch this game locally. The blackout had been lifted, but they are in the stands. And as Charlie, as you mentioned earlier, some are still, and they're assigned seats.
They're assigned seats.
And,
I think that's just
and some are all the way in the top deck. Oh, no.
Well, that's strange. He left it all at the North Pole, I can tell you that. There's no question about that.
And he had a Bronco tattoo on the one arm.
That's right. We get ready to start the second half, and this kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. And Rich Carless is going to kick off. And that's Jamie Holland, who is the deep back on the return. And we are underway in blizzard condition. From the 10-yard line, here's Holland. Takes the reverse to Anderson. Slips the tackle. Pretty good return. And San Diego will start the second half on offense.
Sure. Here's a look at the first half statistics. As we mentioned, John Elway net with 27 yards passing on the afternoon. A very low output, but the conditions have everything to do with that. The big key there is turnovers. 2 on the part of the Chargers, and the Broncos have played perfect football offensively, keeping the ball in the hands of their own people, given the slip-sliding conditions of this field.
Pair of interceptions by Denver. Jim Ryan got the first one, and Mike Harden got the second one. 7 of 13 for 86 yards. Not that bad for Mark Herman. Fumbled it. Ball is still loose. San Diego has it. Herman almost made a crucial error, and that is he tried to pick it up. And in these conditions, once it gets on the ground, you've got to cover it.
Yeah, it's just a snap from center. He's unable to get a hold of it, but you're right. There he tries to pick it up. Just grab onto it. Jim Ryan, number 50, jumping in, nearly coming up with the football.
Second down and 15. The ball back on the 26-yard line. Chargers scored only 25 third-quarter points this season. Herman to throw. Good protection. Pass is complete.
Quite a
Kellen Winslow.
Yeah.
Yes, had to wait till he got up. Couldn't tell who it was.
This week, Kellen Winslow named to the Pro Bowl for the AFC as the starting tight end. What a great story. 1984, there was no better tight end in football. Maybe no better tight end that had ever played the game. The tremendous knee injury that Kellen Winslow underwent. People questioned his desire to come back and play, but he fought through all the pain, all of the criticism, and it culminated by him being named as the AFC starting tight end once again. Quite an accomplishment.
Third down. From the shotgun, the 4-man rush by Denver. And the pass is incomplete. Lionel James, the intended receiver. There was double coverage thrown up by the Denver Broncos. And Ralph Mojico will come in to get. Did you get the time on that? I had an 8.7 second.
The bobsled is doing very well here.
Oh. Ralph Mojico, a 44.6-yard average and a touchdown scoring Casey Clark. Rookie free agent from San Jose State. Of course, a 71-yard return, his first NFL score. Takes this one on about the third bounce. Has around 6 yards on the return, a 40-yard kick. And Denver will move on offense for the first time in the second half, leading 14-0. The Bears and the Raiders in the third quarter at the Coliseum in Los Angeles remain tied at 3-3. And a reminder to our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of the contest. Sammy Winder and Gene Lang, the running backs behind John Elway. Mark Jackson in motion. Lang the ball carrier for a couple. And Chuck Ian makes the tackle. Difference emotionally or mentally for the second half. You know, the first half you come out and it's showing and you warm up and you play the first half. Now you've been in a warm locker room for 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think.
Is it hard to come out?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's a problem coming out. I remember wanting to just, let's play the whole game from start to finish. Don't let me go get warm until after the football game. But yeah, getting warmed up. Usually players will go in, change their jerseys, change the clothing underneath, hold the uniform, actually come out and be dry for the second half.
From the shotgun, second down and 8. Play action fake by Elway. Jackson knocked away by Patterson.
You got to question why he's up throwing the football under these conditions in a 14-point lead. This contest is very important for Elway and the Broncos. Downfield, he's underthrown just a bit. Mark Jackson had Elvis Patterson beat by a step or two, but the underthrown football allowed Patterson to catch up and knock it away.
And meanwhile, it was Chip Banks who was putting the pressure on John Elway. And it's third down and 8. Elway, first down. Tony Bodie. Was it Bodie or Natil? 12 yards. And it's Ricky Natil.
Elvis Patterson, number 34, has had trouble all season long covering people. Look at the amount of area between Natil and Patterson, 5 or 6 yards. Patterson, again, trying to give as much room as he can because he's got to come up and react. But for most of the season, Patterson, a replacement player for the Chargers, has had his problems covering receivers.
First down, Denver at their own 47-yard line. Denver leading 14-0. Just over 11 minutes to go in the third quarter. Here's Gene Lang. Near the 50-yard line where Chuck Ian makes the tackle. A hearty group of fans.
You get the feeling they're having more fun at this Bronco game than they've ever had their lives.
Either that or they're all doing old jumping jacks to stay warm. Gene Lang rushing last year and this year.
Of course, that had a lot to do with some of the injuries. Steve Sewell out with a broken jaw, and Gerald Woolhide out with a broken leg. This team has been beset by injury.
Second down and 7 with Mobley in motion. Now he reverses. Winder near the first down, about a yard shy. Willie Ray Smith with a tackle.
Charlie, I wonder whether or not the coaching staff of the Chargers has allowed their team to know whether or not they, in fact, have a shot at the playoffs at all. If I was the coach of the Chargers, I would say, look, forget about the football game. They have no way to find out in the locker room. Don't let them know. They may be thinking out there, we're playing to find out if we're in the playoffs. And I would imagine Al Saunders is going it after in that sense.
And Saunders said, I said at the start of the season, we had a long way to go. And we still do. As you know, the story, they were out with an 8-1 record. Looked like a shoe-in for the playoffs. Have lost 5 in a row. This would be 6 as they trail 14-0. Winder, the ball carrier. I heard a whistle right before the snap. May have been something from the stand. Thomas Benson with the tackle. San Diego had a bit of a problem yesterday just getting here.
Yeah, last night they were delayed. Actually got to their hotel about midnight last night. They circled for quite a while. It seemed for a while they would have to land at Colorado Springs, but the pass from Colorado Springs to Denver on the ground was blocked, and so they circled for a while and got in here safely last night.
But they were still around 7 or 8 hours late from what they scheduled. They planned to leave San Diego around 2:30, and the plane was not there to bring them because it was still in Denver and couldn't leave the airport here. Gene Lang gets the call. And that could be an advantage or a disadvantage. It could be a disadvantage from everybody concerning themselves about it, or it can be an advantage. You might say, it's snowing and let's just go out and enjoy it and play the best that we can.
Well, this team has gone on a real roller coaster this year. After the 8-1 start, the best record in football, 8 straight wins. Now 5 consecutive losses. In this contest, even though they are to the playoffs, is very important to them because they've got to set a tone for the offseason. And Al Saunders is a very positive, upbeat kind of a coach, but I think he needs this win in order to set that tone for the off-season workouts and for the draft coming up.
And this is the site of his first victory as a head coach last year, 9-3, upset over Denver on November the 9th of 1986.
Vance Johnson unable to hang on to that ball. He's just recovering from a slightly dislocated shoulder. I don't know how slight a dislocated shoulder could be, but he's wearing a harness underneath, actually, and that's going to restrict some of his movement, but they're going to need him for the run during the playoffs. He's been their big play receiver all year with 7 touchdowns.
3rd down and 9.
Steve Watson is down here raising his hand. Nobody is covering him. He's all by himself.
Yeah. And here comes a blitz and the first sack of the ball game, and this was Daniel Hunter who got the sack. What happened with Steve Watson wide to the near side at the bottom of the screen was all alone.
He was all by himself. He raised his hand. I think Elway saw him. The Chargers finally did recover and get somebody over there, but he was unable to give the football. He had the safety blitz on the part of Daniel Hunter, number 27. Receivers are told if that ever happens, just put your hand up in the air and run down the field. Hope the quarterback will see you.
Mike Horan will be kicking to either Lionel James or Gary Anderson. Good kick. James at the 10. Little Trains to the 20. About 17 yards on the return, a 41-yard kick. We've got a timeout. Denver leads 14-0. Hooray!
Yes, we did.
Happy holidays, everybody. It's a white 2 days after Christmas. Home sweet home advantage, yes. That's the Amigo for the Three Amigos.
Three Amigos have sold 33,000 posters in 3 weeks.
They, of course, the wide receivers for the Denver Broncos. Here's San Diego. Curtis Adams gets the call. And the Denver defense is there, as it has been throughout most of the year, this time led by Ricky Hunley. By the way, a special thanks to all of our camera persons that are working. If you think that these are difficult conditions, you should be with us on the 3rd week of January when they'll all be working in Palm Springs at the Bob Hope Classic. Now, that's really a tough assignment. Second down and 9 at the 27-yard line. Just over 7 minutes left to go. 3rd quarter. Spencer. Chargers have had field position only one time. Are able to put together one drive. Still tied in the 3rd quarter. Chicago and the Raiders at 3-3. And a field goal attempt was no good by Vince Abbott. And the rest of the game has been completely dominated by Denver, and it all started with that 71-yard punt return by Casey Clark right at the end. The Broncos won the toss, elected to kick off, held the Chargers, the punt, the return for the score. They kicked off again, and then Denver put together a short drive of under 40 yards for the second score with Winder going in from the yard out. That's been all the score, and not a lot of threat. This is Jim Ryan with the pressure pass complete to Anderson. And it will be close to the first down and maybe a little short of it.
Freddie Gilbert, that's Jim Ryan, number 50, going in with the pressure. Now, take a look at the fumbler. He may have actually fumbled for the first down. It goes out of bounds forward just a yard. Now he's going to be just shy of it. It seemed the ball went out of bounds about a yard shy of the first down marker.
So Ralph Mojico will be kicking. Pretty good average under these conditions. Another good kick. Clark from about the 17-yard line. He's to the 20, to the 30, and then bumped out of bounds. 44-yard punt, a 15-yard return. We've got a timeout, and Denver has the ball. And we know you're going to be hearing a lot about the best bowl. Well, the Fiesta Bowl is the best bowl. Jimmy and I are doing that one. That is if we can get there.
That's right. I was scheduled to go tonight to Phoenix, and we're canceled because the airport here at Stapleton is closed until at least tomorrow morning, and so we're trying to get out.
And on Tuesday night, we're going to co-host the big ball. If we can get there all right Tuesday night. Hopefully that we'll be there. And if not, go ahead with it, and we'll get there as soon as we can. That should be a great game. Really looking forward to that one. This will be my 9th year at the Fiesta Bowl. Elway rolling to his right. Going back. Pass is caught by Orson Mobley. 50-yard line. Gil Byrd at the coverage, 16 yards and a first down.
What happens is that when Elway rolls out of the pocket, the defense has a tendency to move as fastly as they can with him because of his great scrambling ability, and they leave Mobley inside all alone. The zone coverage just continued to move down the line with Elway. Mobley stayed perfectly stationary and came up with a big catch.
It takes all kinds to venture out in this weather. Elway. Incomplete to Mike Jackson. All of a sudden, I have a feeling that Denver has said the thing that we do best is Elway throws the ball. So let's go throw the ball for a while.
Well, I think you've got to throw the ball somewhat under these conditions because you've got to go out and they may have to do it during the playoffs. That's one of the reasons they may be trying to do it. But you don't need a constant diet of it. They've gotten rid of the shotgun formation, which is a smart move because of the difficulty with the snap. But they've been throwing the football quite often. 16 passes under these conditions is quite a number.
And again, if Denver wins, they have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. You wonder what kind of advantage that is in this kind of weather, but it still is. Winder carries, no gain, and you could say, of course, it should be an advantage for Denver. They practice in this weather. They don't practice in this weather. They have a big bubble. They go inside. It's nice and warm. Chip Banks with that last tackle. The Broncos have won 33 of their last 39 home games here at Mile High Stadium, and that is it. That's home field advantage. 3rd down and 10. The ball at the 50-yard line. 4:39 and counting time remaining. We're in the 3rd quarter, and Denver leads at 14-0. No scoring in the second half. Elway, it's in the air. It is intercepted. It is Billy Ray Smith. And the Chargers take over on the interception at about the 47-yard line of Denver. Billy Ray Smith, second alternate to the Pro Bowl, and having by far his best year.
Elway throws into some coverage here. Mark Jackson and Steve Watson are on the left side of the field, and they're very close to one another. But watch how many Chargers are on that side of the field. Vincey Glenn, number 25, knocks it into the air, and that is Billy Ray Smith with the intelligent move coming over and getting the big interception for the San Diego Chargers. We'll be back in just a minute to Mile High Stadium, cold and wet.
And if you really want to be picky, you could say the Orange Bowl is going to be better than Fiesta Bowl. But that really is. Fiesta Bowl last year, of course, we had the national championship game. This year, it's at the Orange Bowl. What a great lineup on NBC. Fiesta Bowl, Rose Bowl, and the Orange Bowl. Herman swings it up. Kellen Winslow. Winslow just back to the line of scrimmage. Greg Cragen and Mark Haynes make the tackle.
The Chargers took Gary Anderson and put him in the backfield, then shifted him out to the far left side of the formation. As we take a look at that Chicago Raider game, still tied at 3 apiece. One of the problems the Charger offense has had is that Gary Anderson is the only speed receiver they've gotten. They have no deep speed on the offensive side, and they try to shift him to different spots to make the defense react. That time didn't work.
Perhaps the emergence of Jamie Holland can help solve that problem. Here's a blitz from the backside, and it's Mecklenburg. Denver's first sack. They're saying they have the ball. Now, this is not in the purview of the replay officials, a fumble that is caused by contact. And it will just go as a sack. And in case you were wondering earlier in the first half, we'll go back to it here.
James Fitzpatrick, number 70. Watch this. He comes around. He does not get back quick enough in order to get Mecklenburg. Mecklenburg hardly touched by Fitzpatrick, who was faking with the play action, then turning around to try to secure the backside.
3rd down and 20. Incomplete. Lionel James could not pull it down. Jeremiah Castile had the cover. We had a play in the first half that you discussed with the replay officials at halftime, and the long slide down around the 10-yard line to the right on the right side of the
Jamie
field.
Holland caught a football and slid along the turf and fumbled the ball. No one touched him, and so it does come under the preview of the replay official. However, the whistle had blown, and so the officials in the booth were not able to correct that mistake.
Mojinko kicking to Casey Clark. Another good kick. Clark at about the 7-yard line. Dodges one. Has a block. Nice return of 9 yards after a 51-yard kick. We've got a timeout, and Denver has the lead, 14-0. See, it's not always that. This is Jim Bragg. Wave your friend, Jim. Jim's inside the scoreboard, and little beknownst, he has a little fire, and he's been roasting marshmallows back in there, staying warm. Meanwhile, in other locations, the handheld on the sideline can get very difficult. Sammy Winder is the remaining back at the 22-yard line. Winder, the ball carrier. You've been watching the wide receivers of the Denver Broncos as Les Miller makes the last tackle. That when they go out wide, if they keep their hands in the pockets of the jerseys, it's a running play.
Yeah, it's a little key that might be picked up by the Chargers this afternoon. Sammy Winder, I keep hoping that he scores another touchdown because he does something called the Mississippi Mud Walk. That he looks like he's sliding in mud as a celebration after he scores a touchdown. Here it becomes the Mississippi snow crawl, I guess.
Or the Alpine slide. Time remaining 3rd quarter, 2nd and 7. Jackson going in motion. Elway rolls right. Throws, passes, complete to Clarence Kay. He just plows his way out of that. 1st down. 21 yards. Elvis Patterson.
And the Broncos.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The Broncos will come back to this play again and again. Vance Johnson, number 82 on the right side, was open. He had man-to-man coverage there. The defensive back did a pretty good job of getting it done. But look at Kay slipping in behind the coverage. Mark Jackson, number 80, being covered up. But it was 82 who you saw slip by just for a second. Vance Johnson, who was open on the corner. I have the feeling that the Broncos will come back to that play at least one more time.
Clarence Kay's first reception last week, a career high. 6 for 91 yards against Kansas City. Little better conditions than this. Here's Winder. And Sammy has a couple of yards. And again, because of the conditions, Winder last week against Kansas City running on 1st down was averaging almost 6 yards a carry out of the shotgun.
And he's led this team in rushing the past 6 seasons. He's been a durable kind of a back. And he really picked up a lot of the slack when Gerald Wilhite went out with that broken leg earlier in the season.
90 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Denver still leading 14-0. All of the scoring coming in the 1st quarter. 71-yard punt return by Casey Clark. A 38-yard drive in 7 plays with Winder going in from a yard out. Low snap. Little play action fake. Elway can run for it. Did you notice what he did? He didn't just run for it. He put a little fake in, a head fake to the outside, and then he went sliding for the 1st down. Let's see where they're going to mark it. They may mark it down short of the 1st down.
This is the same play I mentioned before they were going to come back to. This time they catch his zone coverage, though. And Elway, you're right, put a little fake on and try to slide by Chip Banks for the 1st down. And apparently,
well, here's the thing.
They're not going to get it.
No, and that's a good call for the officials. And the reason that he doesn't get it is that is a feet-first slide by the quarterback, and that is so he can take himself down and cannot be hurt. So the ball has to be dead at that point. So that's a good call for the official. 3rd down and 2. Winder spinning for the 1st down. David Brandon the rookie out of Memphis State, with a tackle.
Chip Banks was injured on this play. There he is coming up. He's the first alternate in the Pro Bowl. Where does... Looks like he just might have turned an ankle as he dives over John Elway. That's him there on the bench with
He come down on the knee, just the way that it hit. We've got a timeout. It's the end of the third quarter. The score, Denver 14, San Diego nothing. Back after these messages from your local station. In case you just joined us, the wind chill factor is, are they kidding? Is it 24 below zero? Temperature is 16 degrees. 4 inches of snow have fallen, 3 to 6 more expected. And that's today, fall today, because overnight in the last... Hello, my dear. May I keep you warm? May I take you out of the snow? Would you come to the fireplace? Let us not ski any longer. It is cold. Matteo coming in motion is Sammy Winder. Hearty group of fans here at Mile High Stadium, though, that have stayed.
Mark Jackson, he's been suffering from the flu during the week. He was sent home from a practice on Wednesday afternoon. After this contest, Charlie, he's going to be a lot sicker than that, isn't he?
Actually, it'll probably be the best thing in the world. Sometimes when you have a flu or a cold or that type of thing, and you play and you exercise,
go roll around in the snow.
Go roll around in the snow for 3.5 hours.
That's another old wives' story.
Two men moving, first down.
Like cayenne pepper in the shoes.
Cayenne pepper in the shoes, yes. He'll be healthy tomorrow.
Chip Banks looks like he's healthy right now, walking around the sidelines. He went out with that injured leg.
No, but they'd send him home from practice in the bubble. Looks like they'd send him home from this. It's raining too. No, you got to snore. You got to go. First and 15. Jackson in motion. Elway's going to throw.
Same play.
Back over the middle. And it's caught by Mobley. 20 yards. And Elway gunned the ball in these conditions.
A little play action fake. They try to roll it to the right side. He's trying to hit Natil once again along the sideline, but he comes back. Mobley's actually the tight end to the backside of Elway, but he knew he had him coming back there, and you're right. He gunned it downfield.
Mobley limps off just a little. Oh, that's a great pass.
I think some of, the injury to Banks, the injury to Mobley, it seems when they hit the ground, this turf is starting to freeze. As we said earlier, it's heated, but they've got to turn off those heaters before the contest, and it's starting to freeze. That may be some of the bumps and bruises that's coming up now.
And Bobby Mitchell, the H-back, is the wide receiver on the far side. Here comes Winder for about 9 yards. Meanwhile, Mitchell downfield on a shoving contest with Danny Walters. Well, there's a pretty fan in the snow cheering the Broncos on. Are you having the party after the game tonight at the hotel, or you going to pick up the tab for that, Mr. Cefalo?
Oh, of course.
I can invite all our friends.
I'm going to thaw out first.
That's right. And that's going to take a long time, too. Second down and a yard at the 21-yard line. It's over 13 minutes left of the game. Winder. First down. Thomas Benson with the tackle.
Bobby Mitchell, number 46, playing the part of the H-back. Watch him come back in motion and get a block, a double team on 78 Ian. He's working with Freeman, the center. And that's what opened up the hole for Sammy Winder, number 23, to sneak through. It's always tough for a nose tackle in this league because if you're going to run the ball against the 3-4, you've got to be able to block the nose. That's really why the H-back was invented. They can have him come inside and crack back double team on the nose tackle.
Winder, the remaining back. First down. He's been carrying on almost every first down. He does it again. This time the Chargers are waiting. That is Gary Plummer. Wraps him up, and then Chip Banks with an assist is back of the ball game. Maybe a couple of yards. And Plummer is holding his ankle. I think you're right. I think the ground is now frozen. Has an underground heating system like an electric blanket is an easy way to describe it. And of course covered by the tarp. That all rolled back before the game started. As soon as you roll back, the field immediately covered by snow. The heater turned off, as Jimmy explained. And now it's starting to freeze again because of the temperature. Winder. Drops to the outside. Lee Williams finally takes him out. Danny Walters was also there. Today's game is the property of the National Football League, the Denver Broncos, the San Diego Chargers, all rights reserved. And today's telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or the use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Denver Broncos and the National Football League is prohibited. 3rd down and 3 at the 8-yard line. Bodie is back with Elway in the shotgun. McKeel in motion. Incomplete. Clarence Kay almost.
Let's count the number of times
yeah.
that Clarence Kay had a chance at this football. Makes a nice play going up in traffic. Takes it away once. There's a second time.
Whoops.
Runs into the teal a 3rd time, and there's number 4 just 5 times on the second play.
That's still great concentration. He really stayed with it.
Oh, yeah, it really is.
26-yard field goal attempt by Rich Karlis. Keith Bishop will be snapping, and Gary Kubiak is the holder. Good snap. Good hold. Got it. 26 yards. Denver leads 17-0. This is Charlie Joe's Jimmy Cefalo, Mile High Stadium in Denver with 11 minutes and 10 seconds left to go in the ball game. The Broncos out in front of San Diego by a score of 17-0. As Randy Kirk picks up the kickoff and returns it a few steps. Denver says they have recovered a fumble. Meanwhile, the defensive team is slogging out on the field for Denver. The officials say that San Diego has it. Again, a fumble that is caused by contact is not reviewed by the replay official. Number 94, Randy Kirk, coming out with the ball, though. He was the short return man.
Well, that's the second time he's returned a kick this afternoon for the linebacker. I don't think he'll touch the football that many times in one afternoon again in his career.
Also on the near sideline at about the 25-yard line, Gary Kubiak is warming up. So we may have seen the last of John Elway as the Broncos are out in front 17-0. Mark Herman. Winslow has it for about 5 yards. There's Kubiak loosening up in the snow. As much as he wants to play, you got to want to say, now, in these conditions, thanks a lot.
Well, that's the job of a backup quarterback in the NFL.
Barry Redden. And Steve Wilson makes the tackle.
Now the Chargers going with a hurry-up offense with 10 minutes and 21 seconds left. No need to wait till there's 2-minute warning. They're down by 17 points.
Herman is pressure, slides away from it. Intercepted. Ricky Hundley. Hundley has the score. Dennis McKnight was chasing him, but he couldn't catch him. 51 yards.
You also have to give credit to Greg Cragen on the play. Number 71 was sneaking in to try to grab a hold of Mark Herman on the contest. But Ricky Hundley, as maligned as he's been all season long, they need him through the playoffs. He's been performing better. That's a big plus for the Denver staff and for the fans here. They're going to need him for the playoffs.
And Karlis will attempt the point after. got to hurt. It has to hurt. Barefoot in the snow. It is good. 24-0.
A big...
Let's take another look.
There's Greg Cragen, 71, who forces him out. It's just a bad throw on the part of Herman and a great catch on the part of Hundley. Then he does his job. Herman with not a very good effort to try to bring him down. He outruns McKnight to the end zone. Ricky Hundley from Petersburg, Virginia. Now, that high school, that's a $100 fine, by the way, for him throwing the football out. He's from Petersburg, Virginia. That high school has retired 2 numbers. Ricky Hundley's and Moses Malone's. That's the kind of player he is.
Jamie Holland on the return. Oh, it takes all kinds to celebrate the holidays. Bruce Klostrom made the tackle.
Hundley has been a great athlete from his high school days. That's the reason, of course, why he's expected so much of him. But he's played well the last couple of weeks and really has rallied this Bronco defense. They've not played as well as they had in the previous years, especially last season when they won the AFC Championship. But they're performing better, and a lot of that reason is because of Ricky Hundley.
Here's the time remaining in the game. 9:51. Denver leads it 24-0. Tim Spencer bit back by Greg Cragen. Not the kind of weather that you can make a comeback in, so it looks as if the Chargers will go from 8-1 to 8-7, losing their last 6 in a row. Meanwhile, the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl last year, the division champions with home field advantage, it puts them in the driver's seat to get to back-to-back Super Bowls, which is very difficult to do. Here's Herman. They may have... No, they still 19 seconds on the clock. There was some kind of contact, and the play stopped before the snap. Possibly motion. Yes, it'll be motion by the offense. You know, it's difficult for the officials, too, to slip and slide.
False start offense. 7 down.
Fred Wyatt. False start offense. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. And Don Masick, the offensive center, in his 12th year for San Diego. 2nd and 20. Freddie Gilbert with the tackle. Third down and 19. Pass is complete far side to Kellen Winslow. Mark Hayes had the coverage. I told you, Ski Mile High Stadium. It's the new bumper sticker. I saw it yesterday.
Oh, we already had some bobsledding going on earlier.
And Ralph Majinko will be kicking. Casey Clark, the return man. We would try to. There's Casey. '23-yard line to the 30. Out near the 40-yard line. Another good return for Casey Clark of 17 yards. A 40-yard kick. Pete Holohan with the tackle. We've got a timeout, and Denver has the big lead, 24-0. This is Charlie Jones, Jimmy Cephalo at the top of the mountain, ready to make the final shush. It's cold. It is cold. What, 27 below, 0 wind chill factor? Was that the last report we had?
Something like that. Gary Kubiak has to be cold. He's now in a quarterback, but he's been on the sidelines for most of the contest.
His last appearance was in Week 8. That was the game against Detroit. His record on the season, he's completed 3 of 3. And he gets to Sammy Winder from the 40-yard line. And Chuck Ian makes the tackle. And so the Denver Broncos, champions in the West, and also home field advantage throughout the playoffs, as long as they remain in the playoffs. And they will have a week off. The wild card will be Seattle at Houston next weekend. And then the divisional championships here. And in 3 weeks, the championship game. Kubiak to Weinberg. A couple of yards short of the first down. Gary Plummer with the tackle.
And that off week will be very important for Denver. They'll be able to get some of their healthy people back. Steve Sewell, the running back with a broken jaw, practiced this week just a little bit. He may be back in time for their playoff games. Also, Randy Robbins, Dennis Smith. They've suffered some injuries outside, way outside possibly. They may be back. But it'll be a healthier Denver team than there has been on the field for many weeks in the past.
The home sweet home advantage for the Denver Broncos. Weinberg's the remaining back. Third down. He does not pick up the first down.
He does fumble, though, and San Diego says it has it.
And they do have it. So San Diego recovers the fumble. Les Miller comes up with it.
Winder seems to just pop out on him right at the very end. Let's take a look at it. He hits the pile real strong. He's got two hands all over it. It's tough to tell from that angle exactly when it does come out. Started number 70 diving in, though, and Billy Ray Smith and Chip Banks, number 56, reacting.
So San Diego has the ball at the Denver 49-yard line, first down, with 6:50 left to go in the ball game, trailing 24-0. Denver has one other shutout to their credit this year. That was against Detroit in Game 8. Herman fires. It is intercepted again. Ricky Hundley has his second interception and his second of the year. And Mark Herman has been intercepted 4 times.
Seems like the snow has covered the jersey of Ricky Hundley. He's not wearing white. Something kind of tell the quarterbacks of the San Diego Chargers. Hundley right in direct position. Sorry to believe Herman would try to fit it in there. Nobody open, but Hundley with another good play.
So Denver at the 49-yard line of San Diego, or 45-yard line of San Diego, first down. 6:40 time remaining. And Ken Bell is the ball carrier. Who would have thought if the flag is down, who would have thought at the beginning of this season that Indianapolis would be champions of the East?
69.
That's a frustration foul on Les Miller. And that Houston would be in the playoffs. Cleveland, you felt, would make it. Denver and Seattle. I mean, those were teams that were within everybody's choice.
The helmet coming in.
Yeah.
Number 69 was spearing Les Miller. Yeah, good call by the official. Yes. That's a dangerous way to play football for both parties.
Yes.
Both for this person spearing and, of course, the one being hit by that helmet. That's really a weapon right there. You're right about the playoffs, though, Charlie. Indianapolis in the playoffs, who would have thought that they went 0-13 a year ago before they began to turn things around.
Ron Meyer turned it around.
He certainly did. In one quick year, he goes from 0-13 when he took over the cloth to the AFC Championship.
Kubiak, tips, incomplete.
And as well, Houston should be credited. Jerry Glanville has done quite a job with that program.
Cleveland back again. Seattle in the playoffs. And Denver in the playoffs. It's a good group. It's going to be a lot of fun the next 3 weeks.
It's going to be. Here's a look at the Broncos season thus far. They got off to a shaky start, actually. Yeah, they had the big win over Seattle to open up. Then they tied Green Bay in week 2. The 3 strike games, you throw those out, actually, although they do count in the standings.
Second down and 10 at the 28-yard line. Just over 6 minutes left. Here's Bell on a sweep to the right side. Now we'll come back and pick up the schedule, week 9. With Buffalo with the victory, then the victory over Chicago, and that may have just set up the final run. They defeat the Raiders, San Diego in San Diego, New England. They lose to Seattle in Seattle. Everybody loses to Seattle in Seattle. And right now in week 15,
I think you're right about that Bear game, Charlie. It changed the whole thought process for this Denver team. That's the game they went to the shotgun formation. They tried to get away from the rush of the Chicago Bears. They were very successful with it. And now, running out of the shotgun maybe 90% of the time, they've been able to run the football better. John Elway sees the defenses better, and they've been a much better club since beating the Bears.
And the numbers get confusing. Week 15, of course, the last week defeated Kansas City. This is week 16, but only 15 games. Going deep, incomplete in the end zone. Flag is down. Ricky Natillo, the intended receiver.
Now you really have to question why Denver is throwing the football.
Illegal motion, number 80.
That's against Mark Jackson. Here it is.
Fourth down.
They're up by 24 points. There's 5 minutes and 49 seconds left in the game. They've got home field advantage throughout the playoffs. You don't have to worry about scoring points as a tiebreaker item. I don't understand the thought process of them throwing the football.
Perhaps just to get used to throwing the football in this kind of weather if they have it for one of the home games.
Well, that's one part.
That's the only thing I can think of.
The only other thing I can think of is they want to show their first opponent in the playoffs as much offense as they can to make them prepare for things. But they've not shown anything unusual. Usually when you do that, you take a strange play and put it in the book so that your defense, the opponent you're playing, has to prepare for that particular play.
Kubiak, the quarterback, over the middle. It is intercepted. Billy Ray Smith has his second interception of the ball game, and 5 on the year. Ken Lanier is the man who stopped it for the Denver Broncos.
It also, the other possibility is that they want to get Kubiak some work in case of an injury to Elway. But here again, difficult throwing in these conditions. I mentioned Herman before, throwing into an area where there was no receiver open. Sometimes it's trying to set your feet, and that's a lot of it. The ball is a little slippery out there. Those are all the excuses those quarterbacks will give their offensive coordinators come Tuesday morning.
Denver 24, San Diego nothing. 5:41 left. San Diego with the ball. Mike Vlasic is now the quarterback for San Diego. This is his first appearance. And he bobbles the snap, and he picks it up. And he's got time. He got time to burn. And he unloads deep, and it is incomplete. Whoa. He was going to West Chandler.
I'll tell you something he found out about that young man. He's got quite an arm.
This is the number 4 draft choice from Iowa, 6'3", 206 pounds. He does. He really does. San Diego season.
After losing early on to Kansas City on a kickoff return late in the contest by Paul Palmer, they went on that incredible streak, winning 8 straight, including 3 strike games. But then the slide began to go on for the San Diego Chargers.
It started in after the Raiders game. Raiders 14, San Diego 3. Kellen Winslow.
There's also been some speculation. Charlie, you live in that area. As we take a look at the remaining debacle.
They just kept losing.
They just continued.
There's the 5 in a row. There's the 5 in a row there.
There has been some speculation. You live in the San Diego area.
The score was reversed, I think, in that Raider game. Go ahead.
About the retirement of Dan Fouts. Is there? What's the feeling in San Diego? Is he going to retire?
I know Dan's watching. He's warm as toast in his home in Rancho Santa Fe, getting ready to invite me as a guest to play at his club, and he'll be back. The press has written him off. The fans have written him off, and everybody's written Dan Fouts off except the key man, and that's Dan himself. I think he'll be back next year. Vlasic in grasp and control of Rulon Jones. His first sack of the ballgame. And his 7th of the year.
One of the reasons that Rulon Jones did not make the Pro Bowl this season, that many thought he should have, was because his sacks were down. He just had, as you say, 6 coming into this contest, but Rulon Jones has been playing the run much better the past few weeks. He's always a tough force to deal with, especially when they line up on the same side of the field with Mecklenburg. You can't double-team Rulon Jones or Mecklenburg, and they both deserve double coverage.
Tony Lilly with the return. Pete Holohan was there, a 40-yard kick, a couple of yards on the return. No, I think that Dan will be back. There is one other possibility, and that is the possibility that Dan himself may decide that he wants to retire.
Well, I would think that'd be the only way it would happen.
Oh, yes, it will be. But it's going to be his decision. He's not going to be forced in by the fans or by the media or by any television announcer. He's going to decide, let the rotator cuff heal, go through the off season, see how he feels, what he wants to do. He's such a great competitor and a great leader that, that it is a possibility that he won't be back, but a strong possibility that he will be.
It's funny, in reading all of the press clippings that we are sent in preparation for football games, early in the year when we did San Diego games, when they were on that 8-game winning streak, they couldn't say enough good things about Dan Fouts.
That's right, yes.
And now with a 6-game losing streak, now they're talking about his retirement.
Oh, yes, how quickly they forget.
Yes.
Why don't you run through the early scores for us?
Houston, with that win, clinches a spot in the playoffs as the wild cards. Indianapolis 24-6 over Tampa Bay, the Eastern champions. And Seattle losing, they lost an opportunity to win a divisional championship. It was a moot point, however, because Denver winning here this afternoon. The Giants over the Jets. Dallas knocking St. Louis out of the playoffs. With Philadelphia by 10 over Buffalo.
Well done. Well, you do that every morning on NBC News at sunrise.
At 6 a.m.
It's easier in the afternoon than the morning, isn't it?
Sure, I'm awake at this time.
Lang carries a couple more scores. And here's Jim.
New Orleans come back over Green Bay this afternoon. A big win for them because they are in the playoffs, of course, but can win the division championship and get home field throughout the playoffs if San Francisco does lose later this evening to the Rams. And Atlanta looks like they're going to get the first choice in the upcoming draft. They're beaten this afternoon. Chicago up on top of the Raiders 6-3. What an exciting contest as far as great for field goal kickers. Huh?
Yes, yes. And what about New Orleans? Who would have thought a year ago that New Orleans would finish a season, have a season like this and be in the playoffs?
Toughest choice is going to be who's going to be coach of the year. I think that's the toughest choice all season long.
Intercepted. San Diego has the ball. This is Vincey Glenn with the interception. Stephon Humphreys makes the tackle. I tell you who my coach of the year is. Okay. It's Dan Reeves, because it's so hard just to get back to the playoffs, and he comes back as a division champion.
Oh, I think you're right. Dan Reeves here has to be the coach of the year because he's had so many injuries through the year, and it's so tough to repeat as a champion, and he had to keep filling people in. And Randy Robbins goes out.
6 starters.
Right. Billy Bryan went out, the center, with a knee injury early in the year. Gerald Woolhite with a broken leg. Steve Sewell, a broken jaw. Dennis Smith has an injury. Randy Robbins, Rick Massey. Yet this man found a way to keep his team up and found a way to win.
Vlasic to Anderson and out of bounds. 2:21 left. What a little excitement here at the end of the ball game. A chance to preview Mark Vlasic, the rookie out of Iowa, taken in the 4th round of the draft. 6'3", 209 pounds. Had a beard earlier in the year. In a way, looked like a Dan Fouts clone early on in the season. Tape in the ear holes. That's to keep the snow out and the wind. That's to make the helmet warmer.
Players will do anything to keep warm in this weather. They wear the pantyhose.
Sure.
They put the cayenne pepper in the shoes.
That's a great one. A scramble in the snow and a pat. Oh, this kid can throw.
It's Bernstein on the, and that's the #1 choice, Bernstein, with the catch. This team had a very good draft last year. Steve Whitmire should be credited, the personnel director of the San Diego Chargers, for bringing a lot of good people into this game.
2 minutes to go in the season for San Diego. 2 minutes to go in this game for the Denver Broncos. The Broncos up 24-0. Well, we have discovered one thing. Mark Vlasic can throw the football.
And he's got quite a strong arm.
Yeah.
He really can throw it. Taken in the 4th round, this team really did quite a job with their draft a year ago. Leslie O'Neal. Now, you're from the San Diego area. Leslie O'Neal was on his way to all kind of records as a rookie with the Chargers a year ago. Hurt his knee, out for the entire season. What's the thought about him next season?
I think the prognosis is that he will have the same kind of recovery as Kellen Winslow. He's worked very hard at it, and everybody is very anxious. Thank you, Bronco fans. Give yourself a big hand. Way to go. But I think that San Diego is a team in transition. I think it's a team that needs a lot of help.
Yeah, they really do need a lot of help. they've changed their whole philosophy, though. With Al Saunders, they've gone from a team that liked to throw the football under Don Coryell to a team that believes that if you run the ball and play good defense, you can win some championships. And they've started that conversion.
Here comes the blitz. They sent everybody. That was a real welcome to the National Football League.
It really is. Tony Lilly, number 22, coming in. Roland Jones is on his way, but it's Lilly, really, that knocks Vlasic down. But he'll remember this, you know.
And Jim Ryan was coming. They were sitting everybody.
He'll remember this. The time I was sacked in the snowstorm.
Oh, yeah.
At Mile High Stadium.
And we'll remember talking about it. And Denver, what Denver needs to get some people healthy. And possibly a big running back, a big fullback type.
There's some question, Charlie, whether or not a great running back can play in the same backfield with a great quarterback.
Oh, there's a pass. Oh, tipped and intercepted. It's Harden with his second interception of the ball game. Harden returns to the 30-yard line. Steve Wilson tipped it. Wes Chandler made the tackle. And now a fight is breaking out. And flags are flying. Somebody decked Mark Hayes. Somebody came across and decked Mark Hayes just with a big shoulder block. That's the flag. Was it Bernstein? It was Rob Bernstein. He'll be ejected for that. That must have been something simmering throughout the day.
Personal foul, number 82, ejected from the game. Touchdown.
He figured with a minute 36 left in the season, it's my last chance to get a shot at it.
Well, that punctuates his rookie year, doesn't it? What a run on the part of Harden, though. Take a look at this. I mean, he's having fun in the snow. You know, when you were a kid and you caught the football in the snow and you say, well, I'll go up to the blue Chevy and down around to the school bus and over to the telephone pole. And, well, all right, it's time. I'll fall down. That's exactly what Harden does. Now, here's a look at Bernstein coming in and taking the hit. Well, no, there he is on the sideline. Al Saunders over talking to him.
And we have a minute and 36 seconds left. And the report card. Elway 7 of 20, 98 yards and interception. He breaks his string. He had 9 games with a touchdown. Winder rushes for 70 yards in the snow. The 71-yard punt return for the touchdown by Clark. Hundley with 2 interceptions and 1 for the touchdown. And Harden with a pair of interceptions. Bell and Lang are the running back. And it continues to snow. Herman, 13 of 23, 121 yards, 4 interceptions. Winslow, he caps his year going to the Pro Bowl, 6 for 44. Billy Ray Smith with a pair of interceptions.
This is also the kind of a game, you know, where the Broncos clinched the AFC West Championship. There may have been, 20,000 fans here. Over the coming years, if they go on and win a Super Bowl or a championship, this stadium will have been filled to the brim.
Oh, yeah.
There will have been 200,000 people that saw them who withstood all of the snow and the conditions here at Mile High.
Wind chill factor dropping down to almost 30 degrees, minus 30 degrees. Oh, yes, the stadium would have been full. Would have been filled. Ken Bell carries. Joe Phillips. Both teams with 3 timeouts remaining.
We're talking about that running back in the backfield. You know, when the draft comes off, if a great running back were available for the Broncos, you know, you got to wonder. Sometimes, if you got the great quarterback, you need a good running back. A great running back, sometimes you have that friction between the two. Now that Dan Reeves and John Elway couldn't find a huge great running back in this offense.
Maybe the big, solid fullback. It's an excellent blocker. The celebration has started. The Denver Broncos, champions of the West, home field advantage throughout the playoffs. The final, Denver 24, San Diego nothing. The Chargers lose their last 6 in a row. Congratulations all around in the snow in Denver, where it's cold.